Good morning. Hi, this is Travis from National Weather Service, and this is your weather hazard briefing for Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd. Looking at the current water vapor imagery, we have high pressure ridging off to our east with the southwest flow over our area caused by this low that's kind of pushing through that ridge, and that will bring our breezy flow today. And then also as note is Hurricane Dorian just off the Florida coast, and here's the track for Hurricane Dorian. Looking at the model GFS short term, you can see that the pressure gradient 500 millibars is tight today, particularly this afternoon, and then relaxes just a little bit overnight. But the high pressure ridging kind of builds back in before this low moves and pushes across us as we move into Tuesday. A little bit of chance of precip across our southern border with monsoon moisture, and then more moisture moves in Wednesday ahead of a system that's going to move across us Thursday into Friday. I'll show that more here in a minute. Here's the surface map. High pressure dominant today. Again, it will be breezy out ahead of this system that's out on the Pacific coast, off of the Washington coast. Looking at our temperatures today, you can see they're still quite warm across the area. Not as quite as high as yesterday. We did have 3 records yesterday, Pocatello Chalice and Idaho Falls. As far as our min-RH, we're still quite dry, well below the 15% widespread across the area. So very critical relative humidity. As far as our wind gust, these are not as strong as what we had seen in the last couple of days with model depictions. That low was not quite as strong as depicted before, but we are looking at some pretty strong values, particularly across the central mountains and the ridge tops, and across the Arco Desert. And this will not be necessarily widespread winds that would support red flags of 30 miles an hour, but you can see for the most part it hits a lot of the zone 410 and a good portion of 425 as well. A little bit lacking here on 413. It is pretty good up in the northern edge, but on the southern edge not so much, and then 427. However, that plays into that, I'll show you, is also the Haines Index, and is a 6 across those areas, so that's why we left the red flag out for those areas. And so here's all the areas for red flags. Again, the winds look really strong for 476. 475 we left out because the RH wasn't there with that system kind of moving through. Yesterday there was some moisture up there, higher humidities. And then as far as 410 and 425 are concerned, again, pretty good winds, particularly across the Arco Desert and along the edges, not quite to those values. And then 413 and 427. 413 in the northern edge, not so much in the southern for either of these zones, but there will be some isolated areas that hit those winds. We had some areas that hit it yesterday, and it will be stronger than yesterday. And again, we have that Haines Index thrown in there for 413 and 427 as well. As far as our surface map is concerned for Tuesday, you can start to see there is some moisture to our south. We get sucked up late, and maybe just a chance of precip along our southern borders, but it's out ahead of a boundary that's going to move through. Like I said, it will be late Tuesday, and with all the moisture kind of moving in the cooler weather, not looking as strong of winds. I'll show you in here in a second. And our temperatures decrease. Again, that boundary doesn't move through later as far as the cold front, but they do decrease just a little bit, but still above normal. And then our min-RH doesn't increase as well, a couple % but it's still below critical values you see in some areas here. But it doesn't look like we have the winds for a red flag at this moment. Maybe some isolated areas, but you can see some of the ridge tops for the central mountains. But again, those areas particularly are the relative humidity is much higher. And then as looking at the surface map for Wednesday is concerned, we have a lot more moisture moving out ahead. This is probably more later, like late Wednesday into early Thursday morning, although there will be some chances of mountain thunderstorms with heating a little bit. As again, we do have some moisture out ahead of that boundary that's going to move through us mainly Thursday into Friday morning, and that's the best precip chances. Here's our max temperatures on Wednesday. You see it does cool down, not much, a degree or two, but it's still a little bit cooler, but still above normal. And then our min-RH does get better. There's just a couple areas, Arco Desert and by the Chalice, that have the critical values of below 15%. And our wind gusts are not that bad on Wednesday. It is dominated, that high pressure, weak high pressure ridging does build in. So here's that weak high pressure building in with the model depiction, and then you see some moisture moving ahead late Wednesday into Thursday. And here's that system moving in Thursday into Friday morning. Good chance of wetting rain up in the central mountains, and then high pressure ridging builds in Saturday. And the difference here is this low was actually going much farther south than previous runs and getting us probably a season, fire weather ending. But right now it looks, you can see by that, is it just skirts the northern edges and hardly brings anything. So that's the current depiction. So that concludes the briefing. If you have any questions, give us a call at this number. Thank you.